Hi everybody, Tony Soto with the Q.co here, and I am joined with two of my friends, Mr. Mike Peters and Michael Harnichar, and we are going to discuss New Colony's new show, The Bear Suit of Happiness, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Now that's an interesting name, so let's start there. Bear Suit of Happiness, what's the show about?
Well, it's about a soldier in World War II by the name of Woody, and he is gay. And he meets up with three other like-minded souls.
Three other gays?
Two other gays and one straight, myself.
Oh, Mike Peters is the token straight
I am the token straight in this show.
Okay, what's your character's name?
His name is Tom. They're actually tasked by the army to produce a show for the camp, and with
like a USO style show.
Similar, yeah, but it was sort of like in that weird pre-USO time. Like, and it was really a remote base. It was on a base in we set it in the Pacific, on an island called Funafuti.
Funafuti, and that's a real place.
It is a real place.
Not much with maps.
In the South Pacific. And so yeah, they're actually tasked with making a show with three rules given up.
Keep it simple. It needs music, and they like drag.
They like drag.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing because they're wearing dresses and they're all laughing together about it. And it seems to be a pretty like broad spectrum, across like all the military, that they have like registered scripts. It's like, okay, this is the part where he gets in a dress as a nurse and he examines one of the soldiers. There's like an army approved script, like this is what we do for
men in dresses. This is approved.
And there's all sorts of innuendo and all sorts of and it did very well. But these guys decided they kind of want to take it in their own direction, and Woody ends up writing a new show from what the script is that they're given.
So the play, The Bear Suit of Happiness, is actually it's written by Evan Linder, who's a New Colony artistic director who also wrote Five Lesbians Eating a Quiche. It was also conceived by Sean Kelly, who's the director of the piece. Mike is acting in it as Tom. I'm assistant directing it, and I'm also playing the piano, sort of underscoring for the piece.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Because it's not a musical.
It's not a musical per se, and but there are musical elements in it.
Sean and Evan found this book called Coming Out Under Fire. And in it, it sort of talks about the experience of gay and lesbian soldiers in World War II, specifically. And what they found was that these drag shows were very common. And it's not totally weird when you think of the fact that there's a bunch of men hanging around who are missing women, who are missing their girl back home. And it really was sort of a play that they would do to entertain themselves, and in many cases, and this is a big part of the show, just to laugh, and in many cases they're last to laugh.
We have a wonderful dramaturg named Adelina Bradshaw, and she came up with so much great information, lots of great photos of guys in drag, like in the midst of the performances, and kind of performing in the mess hall, because they didn't have like a theater, they sort of just had like a big tent where everybody could congregate. And her work really put a focus in like how important like this aspect was to keep morale up and to keep because these guys could be shipping out the next day,
right,
to Iwo Jima, like a really hot point, in the war or something. And
the way that it sort of like helps, the way that it relates to the New Colony process is. It's a devised work process. Yeah, basically it's an ensemble collaborative way of creating a show. So there's the nuts and bolts of the story are soldiers doing a drag show.
Yeah, essentially Evan would walk in with a treatment. Essentially we'd start workshopping it, and he would kind of give the actors scenarios. Let's see what happens with Tom and Woody and their bunkmates, and just let's see what happens here. And we'll start improvising a scene, and a lot of that stuff will end up making it into the final draft.
Is this your first time working with New Colony, or have you worked with New Colony before?
I have. I'm one of the co-founders of the company.
I feel like I should have known that. I don't check my notes.
I met Andy and Evan years ago. I met Andy doing a play at Bailiwick, doing a director's festival, a piece there, and we all sat down at a coffee shop one day and decided to start a theater company. Yeah.
So you guys have been working actors in Chicago for a long time. Let's talk a little bit about where you guys came from as professionals, because I kind of know where you went to school.
we all went to Columbia College together.
Right. We did all go to Columbia
All three of us.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
It's a little inside, a little bit of conflict of interest, but that's okay.
Well, what did you think about Columbia and how they groomed us?
I loved it, because I think we were especially, it's the kind of school that like you get out of it what you put into it, all the teachers there are working professionals, but it's also open admissions.
Right.
So.
They got me.
Yeah. But, lots of people who are like-minded, I think I found when I was at Columbia, who were really focused on ensemble.
Well, it's kind of like the Bear Suit of Happiness, where one of the parts of Bear Suit of Happiness that focuses on is it's a watershed moment for gays and lesbians, because it was the first time that people were plucked out of their small towns, put into the same general area together, and finding each other for the first time.
Yeah. Well, that is really kind of a little bit
Columbia,
because we were all I was a small town
I grew up in
person.
the southwest suburbs.
I grew up in Cleveland.
So it's like, and then we all ventured to the Mecca, Chicago.
Big city.
All of us theater kids, and what I think was that was so great about Columbia was that you could do anything you wanted, anything you wanted creatively you could do. They encouraged you to go outside of their walls to audition, unlike like certain conservatory schools. Where
and that's another reason why I went there too. I felt like I had the flexibility to really find what kind of niche I want to work in. Like what my process is going to be like.
Right.
And that's sort of how I ended up, I think, being with New Colony, and because we're all sort of oddball people, and like we're not really satisfied with the way that the theater that we were doing worked.
Yeah.
And so finding something like so ensemble driven, something that's so dependent on improvisation and collaboration
and feedback.
And
Like
feedback,
that's the
too.
thing too, because I went to one of the first readings for Bear Suit,
Right.
and they even take the time to get the audience at the read-throughs to give their feedback on the show directly after, which
It's
I
a
think
huge part of our process too. We definitely need to hear back from the audience.
I mean, shows have done complete 180s. Characters who you thought were going to be minor characters end up becoming major characters in the story, just because the audience said, "Oh, I want to hear more from that person. I want to know more about that part of the story." And that was interesting to me. So Bear Suit has actually gone through a much more truncated process in that respect. Kind of moved through it quickly. I think we did about 3 or 4 readings of the show.
Yeah. Then we workshopped it last year, and then Evan sat down and started plunking out the script and came in with I think 120 some pages of script, which is now down to a nice lean 85, 86
Yeah,
pages.
the show flies, but it's really
does it fly?
It does.
Does it?
It's so much, I know you're at the reading for it. It's so much faster.
Well, the thing is even okay. I know I just gotta sound like a dick, but no, actually, even
we all thought it was like that.
it wasn't. It didn't even seem that long then, and I'm imagining that it probably was.
Yeah, it's just that and that's what the readings are for. Is so we can find the real kernels that people are clinging on to, so we can tune those bits and make them pop more in the script and make the plot flow more seamlessly. We end up cutting out 40 pages of script or 30 some pages of script or something.
Now, New Colony Theater, you're not necessarily an LGBTQ theater company.
No, not necessarily, though I would say that, a lot of our plays do touch on those issues.
Yeah, I think Andrew Hobgood, the artistic director, founding artistic director,
And
of New
in the
Colony,
cast of the play.
and in the cast of the play.
Look at that, it's so incestuous.
He mentioned when we were doing Rise of the Numberless earlier last year, which Mike and I were both in. He was doing an interview, and they said, "Well, who's the gay character in this one? You always have one." So
1 in 10.
It's almost an afterthought. It's just that we were talking before that it's sort of like the real world.
Let's just recap for everybody. The show is going to
Opens March 1st. We run through March 30th, Thursday through Saturday, 7:30 p.m. and Sunday matinee at 2.
at
the Dunk House at 4740 Northwestern Avenue.
And if they want to get tickets, they have to
Just go to thenewcolony.org. That's thenewcolony, all one word, .org. And you can follow the path and get tickets from there.
I really suggest that you support New Colony Theater. They are gritty. It's just a really strong theater company. They do great work, and I hope that this show is going to be as successful as all your others.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let's talk about this new hairdo or not.
Well, on that note, it looks like we're done. This is Mike Peters, Michael Harnichar, and I am Tony Soto. And just so everyone knows, we do have the shirts done, so if you gave us money, we're going to be sending these out soon. So these are the new swag. All right, well, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.